Hello, everybody. Welcome to Death by Disney. I'm your host, Adam, and I am attempting to watch every single Disney film that's ever been produced. And last night, I finally got around to watching a film called Up. I think it's a very famous Disney film. I've never actually watched it before, and I was a bit surprised because not only is it considered one of the best Disney and Pixar films, it's considered one of the best films of all time. So I thought that I would check it out because I'm interested in Disney and I'm interested in good films. So it's from 2009, and I will tell you my rating later. If you don't know anything about the story, here's a summary of the events. 78-year-old Carl Fredricksen travels to South America in his house, equipped with balloons, inadvertently taking a young stowaway. It stars Edward Asner, Christopher Plummer, and Jordan Nagai, or Nagai, I guess. So, how did I feel about it? I actually would give this a 6 out of 10. And I know you're going to be like, wow, that is a really low grade for something so great. And I 100% can see how people would really love this film. But personally, I think that it has a lot of problems. I think that the first part of the movie where they're detailing the story of Carl and Elsie. It's really beautiful. It's really moving. It's told in only a few words, and you can see like this tragedy, very normal tragedy that happens in daily life where unfortunately normal where a young couple loses a baby, um, either during pregnancy or after. We don't know, but that's a tragedy, and it shapes kind of what happens to the rest of their lives. So I think that part is really, really beautiful. It's really moving for a cartoon basically aimed at children. But here we go with the things that I didn't like about it. The characters are ugly. And I think there is a difference between the characters being ugly in Lilo and Stitch, um, because the human characters are kind of ugly, but they look like real people. And here, um, Carl looks fine because he's a grumpy little old man, but they really did Russell badly. And he's got this like round balloon face, which is a bit inhuman. And apparently they based it on one of the animators. So I think that's just mean that they would draw him like that and he's supposed to be based on somebody. So I think that he goes with this trend of trying to make animated characters cute in this Pixar style, and I think that they should work. They don't need to look completely naturalistic because if you want naturalistic, just make it live action. But they need to look a little bit better than Russell does. There's great voice acting both from Asner and Nagai and also Plummer. Um, but I think that the main problem is I had a hard time suspending my disbelief. One is that when Carl gets this idea to float his house on balloons, and he has some sails, so he's trying to like get to the place where he wants. I just found it like really ridiculous that the house would survive so much. Like it crashes, it burns, and at the end of it, it's still alive. And the other thing that doesn't make a lot of sense for me is that Munitz, who was a middle aged man when Carl was a child, Carl and Russell meet him in Paradise Falls, and he is just slightly older than Carl is, and they get into this fight, which is a funny fight because they have to stop because they're aching and stuff. But so if Carl is 70, what did I say, 78 years old, Munitz is at least 30 years older than that. So Munitz in the film would be 108 years old. Like, come on, that's crazy. Um, and then there's another thing which is a bit odd. He has invented this device where he can, like, it's like a collar that translates the thoughts of dogs. And he's kind of obsessed with capturing this bird, but why? Why would you be obsessed with capturing the bird when you invented a collar that can communicate with dogs? People have been wanting to communicate with dogs forever, like, and know their real thoughts, and you're able to do it, but you're stuck in the jungles of Venezuela looking for the skeleton of this bird, or a live version of this bird. And then another thing is Munitz. There's this like really nice sort of newsreel story that sets off the whole motivations for Carl and Elsie to want to go to Paradise Falls. Um, and so Muniz is accused of fraud because he brings back this skeleton that looks like a dinosaur. And in the story, the rest of the story is actually a bird. And I know that dinosaurs are birds, but not all dinosaurs are birds. All birds are dinosaurs, but not all dinosaurs are birds. And it was clearly not a bird skeleton. So that was a bit odd. And I know it's a story for kids and stuff, but you had this like kind of very realistic, beautiful story in the beginning, and then it's just ridiculous at the end. So that's why I gave it a 6 out of 10. And you might be thinking, well, if I didn't like it so much, why did I give it a 6? I gave it a 6 because there are parts that are legitimately funny and sad. Like I laughed out loud at a few times, and this is just me, but I find talking animals to be so very funny. It's my favorite trope in all of media. So the fact that they have dogs that are talking is great. And yeah, that's like if they had a movie about the dogs talking all the time, that would be great. And I think that the dogs talk in a way that is like kind of normal for dogs. And the way that the script writes the things that they say is really, really good. I really, really liked that. All right, so as viewers or listeners of this podcast may know, I give you my rating and review. I read some other reviews and I interact with them, and I give you some trivia that might be interesting. I don't have any trivia today. All of the trivia that I found was connected to all of the Easter eggs that were put in the movie. And if you're interested in the movie, you can find that information. I'm not that interested in it, so I'm not going to share it with you. So I'm going to talk about the positive reviews and negative reviews. I've picked reviews that are sort of uh, exemplary. I mean that they are not like they're excellent or anything, but they exemplify. Oh, that's the word I was looking for. They exemplify what people liked about the movie and what people didn't like about the movie. We're going to start with the negative review. And this is a bit long, but I think it's pretty interesting, so I'm going to read the whole thing. It's 1 out of 10, misleading advertising, not for children. This movie is billed as the funniest movie of the summer with a PG rating for some peril and action. It should be billed as the scariest movie of the summer for kids with a PG rating for a heck of a lot of peril and a thoroughly frightening and upsetting storyline and message. It's the sort of animated movie I expect from Tim Burton, not Walt Disney and Pixar. No, I mean, if if Tim Burton made this movie, it would be so different. Not better, but very different. Here's what the promos show you: bright, cheerful balloons lifting a house out of the gray, yucky city. That happens. A funny, crotchety old man. Yes, there is one. A cute kid along for the ride. Not cute. Not cute at all. Sorry. A cute talking dog. Yes. A cute and goofy bird. Yes. A standard comic cartoon villain. This is what here's what's actually in the movie: an absolutely charming couple having their dreams shattered, not to mention the wife being stricken ill and dying just as they have a shot at unshattering the dream. My 7-year old son was in tears at this point, 15 minutes into the movie. I don't think that their dreams are shattered in the movie. Because the movie makes it very clear that this is like a childhood dream of these kids. They're like 7 or 8 when they're talking about this, and Carl is completely alone. So he wants to do this thing as a memory for his wife. But later, when he looks in the book, it, Elsie has written down their adventures, and their adventures have nothing to do with going to Paradise Falls. It's like the lovely times they had together. So I wouldn't say that their dreams were shattered. There was one really sad moment in that story, which I told you about before. So that might be a bit of a shattered dream, but it looks like apart from that, they were happy. An elderly man sent to a retirement home against his will after being deemed a threat to the community because he conked someone on the head with his cane after they broke the mailbox he built with his beloved, now deceased wife. Um, I kind of wasn't paying attention exactly to that part, but I think that he wasn't forced. He just felt guilty. So he agreed to go to the old folks' home, and then he changed his mind and put the balloons on the house. And I know it's a movie for kids, but where did Carl get 50,000 balloons in one evening? Like, it's kind of ridiculous. Uh, a kid whose stepmother tells him he is an annoyance to his father. Uh, yeah, that's pretty harsh, and I think I really like the way that they actually dealt with Russell's relationship with his family, because he really does idolize his father. And unfortunately, I can completely see a stepmother saying that to Russell. That doesn't mean that his dad really feels that way. It just means that's what the stepmother said. A pack of snarling, growling dogs realistically rendered with glowing red eyes and collars. Dogs' eyes don't glow, so that's not really realistic. Chasing an unknown creature through a misty jungle, somewhat common in older Disney movies, but the scenes last much longer and are more intense than in the older movies. I think that's wrong. One thing I like about Disney movies in the beginning is that they were terrifying. The animation was terrifying. I could see how this would be kind of similar to that because it would be scary, but to say that the dogs were realistic, uh, uh, no way, no way. There's like a Doberman who's like very angular, very stylized. Everything about this movie is stylized. There's no realism whatsoever. And you don't need realism for a kids' movie in animation, but that's a weird thing to be critical of. I think it's just about the fact that it's scary. And yeah, it is scary. A mean, nasty, paranoid, completely uncomical villain. He's not comical. That's true. And I do think that he's kind of, his villain turn is kind of out of nowhere. Like, he just wants to capture this bird, and he's been there for 70 years, and he hasn't captured the bird, so it's weird. The same dogs chasing people through a 3D immersive landscape of cliffs and falling rocks. The cute, lovable dog Hero, who, by the way, is cartoony, cowering in absolute terror before the pack of dogs, who are, as I said above, realistically rendered. Although it's quite funny because the dog's name is Doug, like D-U-G. Uh, well, I was reading the subtitles, and maybe it's Doug like D-O-U-G, but they wrote it like D-U-G. I don't know. I don't know, but anyway, like the other dogs don't hurt him, but they don't respect him at all. So he's not in any danger, but he's like, "Oh, hi guys." The elderly Hero's house being burned. I mean, in fairness, the house had flown from Chicago. I don't know where he's supposed to live, but Chicago to South America, and was still surviving. And Carl managed to put the fire out, so that's also weird. The kid being abandoned by the elderly man. Yes, he is abandoned, but that's a trope in this animation where you like yell, not just animation, but movies for kids generally, where some kind of respected figure kind of says that they don't want to have anything to do with the kid protagonist. So that's a normal thing. The kid tied to a chair on the open loading ramp of an airborne dirigible, slowly sliding down it towards his death. Yes, there's a last minute save. Yeah, that's I don't know what the problem is there. The cute, funny mother bird hero being forced away from her babies by the pack of dogs. Also, again, that's drama. And finally, instead of the happy ending week that we've come to expect from Disney Pixar, when our heroes are saved, heroes have saved the day and returned to normal life, there's the ultimate disappointment of all. The kid, you see, has been doing all of this to get his assisting the elderly badge and become a senior wilderness explorer so that his dad will come to the ceremony. Kid gets badge, kid gets ceremony, and dad doesn't show up. That's right, the final message of the movie is your dad hates you. I don't think that's the message. Um, he's not there, for sure, and we don't know exactly what happens in that situation. Uh, they seem to be just, and that's also a weird thing if you think about it, because all of the other scouts are like completely presentable for this ceremony, and Russell and Carl are completely dirty, like they've just flown back from South America. So maybe maybe the father was out looking for his son. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what's happening with that. So I think the reviewer is right. That's what the that's what the movie wants you to think. Like the dad's not there, and it's some kind of commentary on absent father figures or whatever. But if you think about the events of the movie, it makes sense that the dad wouldn't be there. The dad and the mom are looking for Russell, but Russell's mom is there. So how did that happen so quickly? Yeah, that's very very strange. Watching the promos, would you expect any of this? Do the funniest movie of the year, of the summer, and Some Peril in Action even hint at any of this? Do any of the reviews mention any of the stuff I just listed? No, they warn you that one character hits another and draws some blood, a tiny little spot of blood on the mailbox breaker's head, and actually no, that was pretty dramatic. So when Carl smashes the mailbox, the guy's head splits open. So that was most dramatic part, and a girl admits to tearing a page out of a library book. No, the rebel. And a bird gets bitten in the leg. Yep, a big, garishly colored, completely non realistic bird. Oh, come on! You care so much about the people, but you don't care about the bird? You read that, and you see the Disney Pixar logo, and you think, okay, I don't mind that, and my kid can deal with it. Instead, I had one child clinging to my wife for the most of the movie and another crying and begging to leave halfway through. We stayed because we felt they needed to see the standard Disney Pixar happy ending. See my last bullet point above to see what we got instead. I think, and as a parent, I have done this before myself, like you need to think about the kid and the movie. So we took our youngest son. I don't have more than one son, but our youngest child. We took our youngest child to the cinema when it was so his first movie, and probably it was just like a Saturday cartoon kind of thing that sometimes Sunday cartoon thing for kids that movies sometimes do, and he was terrified, and it was just a cartoon on the screen. So I think maybe that's what happened. Your kids were too young for this film and they freaked out. Yes, there were funny moments. The talking collars that show exactly what the dogs are thinking are hilarious and extremely well done. And there was a subtle homage to the classic dogs playing poker paintings that had me in stitches. Yes, I agree. The dogs were the best part. But unlike other Disney and Pixar stuff, the scary and sad scenes were more frequent and much more compelling and overwhelming than the funny bits. I usually don't. And then, he just says that the movie was terrifying. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about how I feel about movies that are terrifying for kids. I think it's normal and it's completely acceptable to have a movie that is terrifying for kids. Maybe not like terrifying in certain ways, not terrifying in other ways. Maybe not hardcore horror or gore or anything, but I think movies allow us to feel emotions that sometimes we don't feel and help us understand how we would feel in that situation. So they're very useful tools to increase our imagination. And I think the first part of this movie is actually, I mean, parts of the movie are really good. I just think it didn't work in the end. So the bit about Carl, I don't have any problem with. And the fact that they were in danger, also, I don't have any problem with. But I don't think it worked together. So I would kind of agree that the movie didn't work, but not for the reasons like that. And a lot of the negative movie reviews that I found are connected, not to my points, but connected to things like it was more violent than they were expecting, it was more sad than they were expecting, and children shouldn't be exposed to that kind of violence or that kind of sadness. And I think that kind of violence is very cartoony, right? Except for the guy getting bonked on the head. And that kind of sadness is not cartoony, but it's useful. You need sad movies. So I think that there was an entire generation of people who grew up with this movie. Okay, now for the positive review. Hold on. And the negative review was from 2009 when the movie came out, from Rob Freundlich. And here's the the positive review: 10 out of 10. Beautiful yet devastating. I watched this film when it came out, and I recently watched it again. This is the saddest yet happiest and best film ever made. I want to thank Pixar for creating this film. It's truly a huge part of my youth and created lots of happy memories. So yeah, a lot of people, most of the positive reviews are very similar to the one that I just read. And that is from, oh, I didn't say who wrote it, but uh, lots of positive reviews connected to the thing that it was a big part of their youth when they were growing up. I think one good thing about this movie, uh, I don't think that Disney has gotten the urge to do live action remakes of Pixar films yet, which is great, but I don't think that this one would work as a live action remake because the characters just look so odd. Yeah, so 6 out of 10. I mean, if you like Pixar, if you like Disney and you haven't seen this film, you should definitely see it. But I could understand. So I can understand somebody really liking the movie, and I can understand somebody not liking the movie. So, what do you think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Uh, put your thoughts in the comment section down below because that's where your thoughts are supposed to go. And like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.